I combined the grape popsicle C4 with a code red, and it's like very, very good flavor, but damn, it's sour. All right. Why is this not? Oh, hang on. Apparently, it's not capturing the right scene. There we go. All right. So I was reminded last we left off. You guys had taken the quest. Well, you guys had ended up in the temple. Saw the dissension, I guess, to the mortal plane of a very high-powered entity, to the point where even Roran was just like, let's back away slowly. Wasn't exactly that, but it's kind of the gist of it. You guys got a mission from him to, at some point, try to find the temples and shrines that house the rest of the Celestial 12's powers, because he told you that they're basically more than just powers. They are pillars of reality, and they are needed. And without a host, they begin to weaken over time. So you guys got that quest, decided to go for a long rest, did that. In the morning, you checked on the Hunters Guild to make sure your bounties hadn't been already claimed or that the weekly event wasn't completed. It was not, so you guys proceeded, teleported out as close as you could to the crash site. Decided to fly the rest of the way there in your fancy new single-piloted flying devices that are disc-shaped in silver. As you got closer, apparently Sai could not resist the urge to make a "take me to your people" joke. And he was persuasive enough that the construct thought he was serious. And the construct took you to his leader. Gaining access to the giant ship, going inside, talking to the leader. Basically, you found out that all they want to do is get their ship unstuck. And then they have been apparently instructed to return. So, after a little bit of group suspicion, which was probably well warranted, you decided that you'd help him out, as Mr. Tofik was able to recall blueprints to how the crystal walls are made. The most important feature being that they are not one singular wall, but modular pieces that kind of connect together via energy. And so if you go up to a specific wall and know the sequence to input, you're able to temporarily take down the wall. So that's what you guys did. The ship is now floating several thousand feet off the ground, but it's floating up there while they are making final preparations. And then you guys spent the rest of the time going over the field where they were, because you found lots of golem parts, like iron golem plates. I think you found flesh strips that you just left there. I don't know why you would want to collect those, but cool, whatever. Glass golem, stone golem, iron golem, and something else besides flesh, right? I'm sure. Well, we'll remember later. After that, you guys went down for a long rest again. And as you were resting, you would be set upon by a bunch of massive caterpillars. And, well, they weren't really quite a threat to you, but they were a threat only because one of your main damage dealers was having an argument with his sword. But you defeated 16 massive caterpillars, with the 17th being teleported to some random reality. At least that's what you guys think. There they are, massive caterpillars. And so that's pretty much where you end, is you guys finished off the massive caterpillars and went to finish your long rest because it was interrupted. Yep, that is correct. Because of your book, right. The counting book, the one that you found on a table amongst other useless books, and bought for what, five iridium or something like that. 25. Alright, well, you may I will say that nothing happens in the time you guys go to finish your long rest. Oh, he went to Pandemonium. Not that you guys know that, but I was just curious where that poor massive caterpillar got sent. So time 5 hours later, you guys finish your long rest. It is now dark. Or just really becoming dark. It's like dusk. You're going to use your cube method. Side question. Lauren, is one of your domains travel? I know you told me what your domains are, just kind of blanking. Alright, well, this is technically an audit only for Roran, so don't do this for Vondar. Your title has a slightly new effect with having the domain of travel. You can also use your cubic gate to just teleport. And the teleport spell is free for you because you are a travel god. And that happens to fall under your purview. Yeah, I'm not done with all the changes yet, but expect in the next changes for gods, there's going to be a lot of overhaul for domains getting actual relevant things aside from salient abilities and divine talents. Because, like, travel should have perks of traveling. So that's one of the changes I made, is that travel domain gods just innately have teleport. And yours will just come through your cubic gate for convenience sake. You guys find yourself, I assume you're... What would your target in the Black City be? That is a fair choice. Just I thought I'd ask. You find yourself whirling through... I want to say, just for flavor's sake, when you teleport, you go temporarily, everyone sees this landscape of stars and waters and purple mists, and then you find yourself just traveling through it for a brief moment before you find yourselves in front of the familiar Hunters Guild. I remember now. No, this time it's Dark Elf. Or, or at least what you assume is a Dark Elf. Side bursts into flames. No, I'm just kidding. Good evening, hunters. What can I do for you? Anyone remember how many that was? Hold on. I probably still have the dice that I rolled. 1 second. I believe you. I was just going to double check. There's where Tenro was. Steelman Strike. Divination. Oh, hey. There's my notes for the leader. Or there's Grimm's notes for the leader. There it is. 12 bits of glass, 3 broken stones, 13 strips of flesh, and 16 iron plates. You were spot on with that 16. Oh, this is... I mean, monster parts in of themselves always fetch a decent price. Let me double check, though. We don't have any active hunts for those types of golems, but we are always happy to purchase monster parts. After counting the plates, he'll put down 16,000 iridium, as those were worth 1,000 iridium per plate. I'll make a change to that later, but for right now, I'll just put completed. Graham, note to self, remind me that we need a completed category back in the journal tab. Alright, alright, let's see. What would those monster parts be worth is the question, really. I have a book on monster parts, so give me a second. Oh, wow, holy crap. Not that I am encouraging such behavior, but a single feather from a solar is worth 3,000 iridium, just so you know. That doesn't seem right. Let's see, so stone golems cost 80,000 to make. And you had 3 pieces of stone? A fair price. They would be willing to give you 890 iridium per stone golem piece. Thank you. The glass golems are about 100 apiece. Are you actually asking that out loud? Yes, a glass golem registers at about roughly a danger classification of a 2. So, with the right preparation, a decently competent party of level 1s could handle him. A single one. Honestly, statistically wise, they are barely stronger than a goblin. And actually, I'd say a goblin has a leg up. You know why? Goblins don't have damage vulnerabilities. But they make good labor, so. Well, and a CR2 innately starting with resistance to magic, that's pretty good. Also, it does depend on which version of the glass golem you have. The ones you guys got are the standard workforce type, but there's actually still the same CR, but has different abilities called a glasswork golem. They are more robust. It's like made of stained glass rather than regular glass, but they have some interesting abilities. Anyway, so 12 pieces of glass, it's 1,200. 3 pieces of stone, 25 something, 24 something, 2670. So that means he would put another bag on the table with 3,870 iridium pieces in them. keep in mind these aren't quests; they are bounties. Slightly different. You still get payouts, but it's different. Oh, also, since you finished the weekly, you get a separate pay. Hold on. So how many of you are actually registered with the Hunters Guild? So ranking up in the Hunters Guild is different than it is in ranking up in the Adventurers Guild. But they kind of boil down to the same thing. It's just you need higher numbers for the Hunters Guild. So for completing a daily quest, those who are members of the Hunters Guild just mark down somewhere that you receive 10 completion points. And then you'll receive an extra 2 completion points for bringing in monster parts from 2 different creatures. And think of the Hunters Guild kind of like bingo. Or maybe more accurately, if you think of it in a video game sense, a collection. You don't get points every time you kill, say, glass golems. In fact, you just get the points that you have right now because you've killed quote-unquote, killed glass golems. But it's like you want to complete your own version of the bestiary. So you get points for every new creature you have dealt with. And so a Z-ranked hunter would have a fair bit of creatures in their completion pool. So 12 points in total for those who are part of the Hunters Guild, and you do get payouts based on those. You said you're a D, Sai? Just because I can't remember, we'll just say for sanity's sake, that's probably where Roarin is too. Not not that it's really that big of a payout, but for those who are, you get 1 common voucher. So 2 common vouchers for turning in your first glass and stone golem kills. And then you get 1 for your iron golem, so you get 3. Hold on, how? Let me step back a second. Yeah, no, I have right because the rank determines their vouchers. So you get 3 common vouchers for your first trophy turn-ins for those 3, and then for completing the weekly quest, you will get a rare voucher. 67, and then 5 steel pieces. No, no. Like I said, for Archie, until he returns, I am just having his characters phase off permanently, or I guess semi-permanently, because if he comes back, he can come back. Well, I mean, Lady Snick would like a share. Mm. What level is this party, averagely? By the way, Sai, you take 92 points of divine damage for your stupid pun. I let the first one you said earlier slide. Uh-huh. That's why I said each at the top there. If it's singular, if it's group, I'll say group, and then if it's not, I'll say that. And that actually reminds me of something. Starting this is Wednesday, not Monday. A new thread. Counter reset to 0. We do not distribute items. We do not distribute items. That is now only the job of the Adventurers Guild. Unless you're looking for something very, very, very specific, then that would be the Merchants Guild. And they don't actually distribute it, a more point you in the right direction. Yeah, facilitate. That's a good way. I heard there's a movement recently amongst the masses to overthrow the oppression of Lynx and Lynx's wares. Oh, we have no feeling one way or another. In fact, Lynx's wares are perfectly acceptable equipment. But many of the shopkeepers of the Black City feel slighted that one man is allowed to do so many things and not seemingly pay the same amount of taxes as the rest of them. Taxes nearly ended, and it nearly ended a campaign with the war that was happening in the background. One moment. Actually, I need to roll this twice. So other than the weekly posting, which doesn't technically go away, it's there. There are the daily quests. Monstrosity, you say? I'm sorry. What? uh. There is a bounty to dispatch a iron scale hydra, which seems to be trying to hinder efforts in smog marshes. And there is an open bounty. Roran, you feel like you guys just finished this bounty, as it is to stop a horde of rampaging massive caterpillars. Mm-hmm. Not too far southeast of the Crystal Wall, on the east side. Interesting. Can I see your guild card for a moment? Yeah, look at that. Registered. That is convenient, actually. Hold on, let me go get you that reward. Trophies. Let's see. There were 16. $8,000 iridium each. 1 CP for your massive caterpillars. And a common voucher each. Is there anything else you require?